Hey there, Tracy here. Welcome back to my channel. And today is our January release hop for Trinity Stamps. So don't forget to hop along and see all the wonderful creations with our new release. And I do have the hop listed in the description box down below. And there's also a giveaway, $25 prize. And don't miss us on Instagram for another chance. So let's go ahead without further ado and jump into this video. So today we're going to make a spinning fan, and I've made one already, and we're using our number 1 fan Addon Die Set to the circle card die set. I'm going to be using the fan portion, and I'm going to be using not the grate, not this time, but you'll see it plenty, number 1, and I'm going to use fan if I can find it. Where are you? There you are, fan. So I'm going to use those dies. I'm going to use our circle card die, and I'm going to cut a pink card base. And then I'm going to be using, don't lose my little heart there. I'm going to be using our Clean Cut Layers Circles Set B to cut my background layer. And I'm going to be using this Swirly Stars stencil. It is called Starstruck. It's one of my favorite Trinity stencils. I just love it. It's so much you can do with that. So those are the Trinity products we're going to be using, and let's go ahead and jump in. And something new, friends. Wait till you see. Just wait, just wait, just wait. First of all, I'm going to be using some black paper, and this is the Tim Holtz black heavy stock. Nice and black. Dark, dark black. Love it. Feels like velvet. Look at what Trinity Stamps has released. We have our own little sticky mat, and I kind of, don't want to use it, but I'm going to. So I'm going to stick my paper down on there, but before I do that, I want to find the center. And the way I do that is I've made a little template here, and all I did was fold it in quarters and then made a dot in the middle. So I've got that dot in the middle there, but how am I going to get that onto my black paper? Well, here's how. I'm going to take my little crocodile here. Well, first I think I'm going to do this, and nope, that's not going to reach. So I'm going to have to use my crocodile, and I'm going to just pop a hole right there in the center. So this is helpful if you're ever trying to find the center of something. And then I'm just going to make a little mark. So I'll go ahead and line these up. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, friends, but it helps to have it, it helps to have it centered, because we are going to have a spinning fan on here. And if they're off center, you know what they do. They make a lot of noise. So I'm going to stick this down to our sticky mat. And I'll have all the supplies I used also listed down below. So I've also marked my stencil, and for that I just found the 3-inch center mark and made a little mark with a Sharpie. So I've lined that up with my center mark so that my stars are centered. And friends, gonna speed through this part here because I am just stenciling in this White Lies Stellar Paste from Simon Hurley. Brand new product. And if you use a sticky mat for this, wash it immediately. Okay, I've got that done, and now I have a clear piece of acetate, and I have this Rock Candy Chunky Glitter. And I have this tape, which is almost gone, and I've had it for years. And it's just a double-sided sticky tape. And I'm sticking that down to my acetate. And the acetate that I'm using is actually book binding covers or book covers or something like that. I'll list them down below, so they're not quite as, I don't know, crispy. I don't know. They're a little bit more flexible than acetate, I guess. So it's all I use. And then, so I can't see my mark, but I want to cut on the back or side, because that's the side that I want sticky. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it here, and I'll try to add some tape, but of course tape's not going to stick to that because it's too slick. But you can see through it if you lift it up. So I pull my tape, and then I end up just taking it over to my machine and, crossing my fingers with a wing and a prayer that I have it centered. So there it is, cut out, and I didn't do too bad, right? Not too bad. If you knew the chaos that was going on behind the scenes here. Now I'm going to go ahead and punch my hole here, and I'm just punching the hole in the center where I have that little dot. And I do need that hole to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use some sharp scissors with a, a very pointy point to just enlarge that hole, because that's the biggest thing I have. You could use a little die too if you wanted to, but sometimes I just like tools that I can just grab. So I'm going to grab a piece of paper here because I do not like getting that glitter on my silicone mat. I'm going to move that aside so I don't accidentally bump it. And oh, you guys, later in the video, you don't see it, but I ruin it by thinking that it's dry and it's not. So make sure that's fully dry before you try to die cut it. I salvaged it off screen by adding more paste to the where I ripped it. Never mind. Crafts, how would I say it? Crafts and accidents, craftidents. I don't know. Anyway, I pressed that glitter on and then cleaned up my glitter, and then I'm just pressing one of my little snap and slides to get kind of a template out of this little piece of foam, because that's going to be my spacer. And then I've got my snap and slides, and I punched the center out of that. Okay, moving right along, let's move on to the next phase. I'm going to go ahead and die cut my sentiment for the inside. I'm going to use fan on the inside, number 1 on the outside. And then I'm going to be using some silver holographic paper for my inside letters, and I'll use the black for my shadow layer. So we have mostly black, white, silver, and pink on this card. So I'm just cutting these down small enough so I can get them both into my die cutting, my little Scout die cutting machine, just to save some work. It's nice that this has a nice long platform on it that you can, do your small dies several at one time if you play your cards right. Anyway, we get those cut out. And then I'll just use my tweezers to lift things off of here, because sometimes I just can't pick those things up with my fingers. And then I'm going to do a little glue trick here, which you guys have seen me do before. You've seen a lot of us do it before. I'm going to go ahead and lift that off, and then I've got my everything ready to grab, and I'm going to put glue on my hand, but wah, wah, wah. Doesn't want to come out. What a shock. It's gotten really, really cold in here, and it's super cold in my craft room until I turn my little space heater on. So, and this is art glitter glue. There, finally got it moving. It had a little plug stuck in it. So I'll just put some glue on my hands and then just dip my little pieces in the glue and lay them down. And this is the way I like to do it, because I'm not a super good aim, and there is a little bit of wiggle room. Not a lot on that black paper. I just want to say that if you get glue on that paper, it does show up, even if it's not supposed to. It does. So, I want to be careful as well. So I've got those done, and I'm going to save this little heart too, because I'll put that on the inside. And then I've got this piece here, and it's going to be my background piece, but I want to cut out my card base. So I've got that cut out of the same pink that I have in that center one, which, by the way, I just punched with my 1-inch punch. I guess I forgot to show that, or didn't have my camera running, but it's just punched out with a 1-inch punch. Now I'm going to center I want this a top opening, so I'm going to center that, and then I'm going to add my fan on the inside, or drop my fan with glue everywhere. You pick. And then I'll just put a little dot of glue and stick that little heart. And that's that. That's the inside. Want to give that a chance to dry. Now, by the magic, I've already cut this out, and I'm going to use my crocodile again to cut out the center. But I'm also going to use my scissors to trim around it and try and get it as evenly as I can. Because the point is I want this little lip right here on the snap and slide to fit through there and be loose, so that my fan spins all the way and nicely. So I'll just kind of trim this out. Again, if you have a die small enough, you can use a die, but I'm going for it with the scissors. I'm just going all the way around and making sure that fits in there. There you go. I'm trying to show it to you in in the hole there, and make sure that it's a little bit loose, a little bit wobbly, and it turns. And then I'll put my little spacer on. You could just use several pieces of paper too. And this is how it's going to sit on here, and you're only going to press it to the first press. Okay, and you can add a little glue in there if you want to, but don't press down hard on it. Just press it till it clicks so that your fan will turn. And then I'm just going to use my fingers and kind of fold in and turn up my blades. So I turned up the blades on the short side on this one. On my other one, I turned it up on the long side. Now it doesn't really matter which. It'll loosen up too. So now I'm going to add some foam tape to the back side of that. So if you add a little bit of glue, you don't risk the chance of that fan falling off because it's only clicked down to the first click. But I like the idea that you can do that because, you know, this way you've got a lot of moving parts. And I'm just kind of placing foam tape in and around the middle there. And it doesn't really matter what height as long as it's taller than the snap and slide. So I'll pull up the backers. And let's go ahead and stick that down to the center of my card base. And I'm just bending my little blades a little bit more. And it's getting more caught up on this one because my stellar paste is a little high on there because of the mistake I told you I made earlier. You'll see when I show you the first card that I made was my prototype. And let's just add the little number 1. And super simple card, but super pretty and fun. So a person can spin their fan and the little number spins as well. And then we've got number 1 fan. Here's the second one I made, which was the first one. And see, it spins a little bit better because my stars were flatter. And then I made somebody a little matching envelope just for the fun of it. Hope you like the video. If you do, please leave me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hop along. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video or go live. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.